Hello, welcome to Basecamp for Men. I'm your host, Tony Rezac. This is a show that gives you insights and resources on how to live a more courageous life. We'll be looking at men, current state of masculinity, how to create a more inspiring narrative for all. Welcome, let's get started. Hello, base campers. I hope you're all doing well. Today we have a few tidbits and a fiery interview that I really enjoyed being a part of. Man, you can see the new variant marching onto the scene, can't you? It's so boring and predictable. How fucking dumb do they think we all are? Getting this all ready for another election year, 2024, yawn. Here's a meme from David Wolf who shares, quote, "A breaking story. A new and more lethal Omicron variant has been detected. It's called BS 24/7. It attacks the truth and insults your intelligence," unquote. Oh, I have a few questions for you. How will you navigate round two? Did you learn anything from the last round? Did you like complying and obeying orders from tyrants who hate humanity and freedom? How did that feel? I'm asking because I don't know, as I, my family, and a few close friends were on the other side. I've learned a ton the past 2 or 3 years, but I plan on making many of the same choices in round two of any pandemic. I won't be doing masks or jabs or boosters or whatever else the globalists have in mind for us. I'm not interested in any of that, and I don't really care what you think of me. I stay out of your business, trusting that you will make the best choices for you and your family. And a great way to tee up this interview is with a Walt Whitman quote and a reaction by Bitcoiner Jeff Swann. Walt Whitman says, quote, "There is no week, nor day, nor hour when tyranny may not enter upon this country, if the people lose their roughness and spirit of defiance," unquote. In which case, Jeff responds with a simple quote, "Walt Whitman knew the fucking snowflakes would ruin the country," unquote. Oh, this gets us in the mood for this interview, so to speak. Buckle your seatbelts as I sit around the fire riffing with my new friend, the fiery, truthful, enchanting Marja West. Enjoy the ride. Marja West is an author, mentor of the Hermetic Natural Law Principles, and a leading expert in trauma-based mind control, her focus being assisting survivors of this trauma to evolve from victim to victorious. Well known for her zero-filtered, laugh-out-loud humor and disarming, electrifying presentations, Marja is an author of the book Effed Wide Open, The Rude Awakening of the Heart-Based New Humanity. Here's my interview with Marja West. All right, I am here with Marja West. Marja West, author, thought leader, spiritual warrior. Marja, welcome to Basecamp for Men. It is great to have you on the show.
Thanks so much, Tony. I'm happy to be here.
I've been really looking forward to chatting with you. You know, I found your name and your work. I was kind of clicking around. I'd done an episode on natural law, and I was on naturalfreedomleague.com, and I found you there amongst some of the presenters for a conference, and I started clicking on your stuff, and then I got your book, and I was like, wow, this woman's really got this wide-ranging knowledge. I can tell right away that you've been a long-time seeker of truth and have put together all kinds of things to make sense of what's going on.
Yes.
But I guess my first question, I mean, it is crazy, like the times that we're living in right now. Like, it's so, I alternate between kind of, I don't know about you, I alternate between kind of really being excited and sort of filled with awe and reverence because I feel so blessed to be alive right now. But then also sometimes I just feel kind of battle fatigued. You know, it's such a information war, and I
Yes.
see, you know, I'm, because of who I am, I'm receiving inputs from, you know, both sides of this kind of conflict, and so it can get really tiring. But how is the whole thing landing for you? Like, how are you holding up? Like, how are you feeling inside of this kind of spiritual war? Yeah,
I'm with you. I have been at this since I was a child, and I was a child in the 60s, and when I was a teenager it was the 70s, and I know that kind of enthusiasm when you are that young. And but I was a weirdo, you know. I pretended I was a fairy. I was in an abusive family, and I read books like the Gulag Archipelago. I read the Hermetica, And I was seeing through this sort of bullshit that I saw that was going on the television that was mesmerizing everybody around me, my family included. I was the weird kid that saw that everybody was being kind of held captive by the television, and I would go around the back of the TV and unplug the fucking thing. So, you know, it was like I saw through it. And as I got older, I kept thinking, okay, I'm going to do what I can to really set forth a new way of being, a new way of thinking, only to get waylaid because, you know, I had such enthusiasm. But my friends, all they were interested in really was listening to rock and roll, getting high with all kinds of drugs, fucking their brains out, and making as much money as possible in any manner. It didn't matter whether you were in integrity or out of integrity. It was just, you know, when I was coming up in my 20s, it was the 80s. So we're talking yuppiedom here. And I got kind of caught up in it, although I was a stepmommy to 3 kids that weren't mine. And I had this very moral stronghold of being responsible for these kids who, in my opinion, had chosen the worst parents possible to bring them up. And I was going to do everything that I could to, you know, raise them as best as I could with some really, really great values. And so as I've gotten older, I've noticed that I call them the powers that want to be. People can call them whatever they want. The people in charge, the elites, the archons, whatever you want to call them, I don't care. Okay, because it doesn't matter. What matters is the powers that want to be have the planet hijacked such that the planet is no longer the planet or the true quantum field creation field universe. It's actually the world. The world is not the planet. The world is the fucking matrix. And I started seeing through this very, very early on. And I see that it is manned by gooberment, by poop culture, as I call it, by Hollywood, by the recording industry, by the movie industries, by the book industries, by media outlets. And I just saw right through it. And I'm like, do people understand what's going on here? And obviously not, because in the matrix, there's so many distortions and distractions that create the divide and conquer mind control, which is the main thing, the main vehicle through which, in my opinion, the world and the matrix kind of takes over the basics of humans, such that humans forget who they are and they just become spectators of whatever the matrix, whatever media has out there, whatever government is like creating in terms of another divide and conquer, whether you want to call it sexism, racism, pick an ism, any ism. And most people, they cannot for the life of them see through all of that bullshit. And, you know, unfortunately, sometimes I wish I could just be one of them, because it's very fatiguing. I turned 60 right before 7/19, the COVID, as I make fun of it, came out. And I could not believe that this shit was actually going down right before my eyes.
Yeah.
You know,
you and I talked before we got on here, you know, and I said, you know, you'd lived in Seattle when you were younger, and you know, so it's a very liberal area, and I was shocked at the level of compliance with the masks and the vaccines. Like, I was like, oh, there's more rebels here. They're going to push back. And I'm like, fuck, me and like 2 of my friends and my wife are the only ones.
Yeah, no, it was pretty shocking.
Yeah, I'll say so.
You know what shocked me the most about that? The people who were the most compliant that I witnessed were the hyper intellectuals, the one who got their fancy fucking degrees, the sort of woke scientists, and the new age bullshit people who were creating their own reality, the new cage movement. I could not believe it.
Yeah.
I got invited to weddings where the bride and groom were fucking wearing masks, walking down the aisle, and required vaccine certificates and masks to all their wedding guests.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, are you fucking kidding me?
I know. Well, and there,
Right.
you know, there seems to be something to, and I'm curious to see if you're noticing this. There, to me, and it looks like there's like this crumbling of the old guard. Like there's a lot of truthers out there that are like calling out every single thing the deep state does is called out from 20,000 different angles.
Yes.
Rapidly.
Yes.
And I think there's this kind of wrecking ball, like truth and truthers are chipping away at the deep state's ability to sort of shape the narrative.
Yeah.
And but I think there's people that are excited. Like, it makes me afraid, but also excited to think, wreck the old paradigm. Let's build the new one on decentralized platforms or protocols. But there's people that are like desperate for it to go back to the way it was. Like, people are just like, I just want to go back to traveling once a year without a map,
Yes.
And so I think there's this fear of what, if the deep state is going to have their feathers, and they're going to be tarred and feathered, and their systems are going to crumble. That includes banking, media, and all that, money with Bitcoin. That's going to create a lot of possibilities for humanity, but I don't know how many people. It seems like a small sliver of people that are kind of excited about that. Most are like, no, please don't take that from me. Please just let me live the way I've always lived, trusting the government. I mean, and
that's part of the problem.
Yeah.
That is part of the problem. And unfortunately, what I see is that the divide is cleverly designed to bring aboard, what I call the poseur truthers.
Mm-hmm.
Who talk a good game about that. But what they are doing is they're obfuscating the obvious. And for me, the obvious is this. If we want to change reality, each fucking one of us has to take full responsibility for our reality and understand how reality gets molded. It doesn't get molded by pushing up against what you see in the outer screen. Mm-hmm. Or by tripping out and feeling disempowered by what it is that you see in your mindset internally. You have to reside in what I call your spiritual awakened center. And, once again, this is where New Age bullshit and religion has completely hijacked spirituality to make it think like, oh, you have to be so special to be spiritually awakened. Bullshit. No. You're spiritually awakened if you can, under almost all circumstances, own your attention by knowing and seeing what they're doing in the outer screen of what you witness with your eyes and the rest of your senses, and what it makes you do internally in your little mind fucks, Mm-hmm. And until we are all residing in our awakened center, our center screen, and compose reality, that is, up-level our thought processes, so that we can dwell in the reality that we want to dwell in, rather than pushing up against the shit you don't like, going to war with each other, getting into these pissing matches, and that's what I see. A lot of these truthers, my dick is bigger than yours, and nee. No, I'm the queen. No, I am. I mean, I can't take it. I get invited to these podcasts and I literally have taken myself off. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, no, I don't think the answer is outing government as being a shit show. We already know this. It's right. Like, what are you proposing?
Yeah.
And all this divide and conquer stuff, that's what the elites want. That is exactly what they want. They don't have to watch the decimation of humanity, because we're doing it to ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Well, you've talked a lot about in your book, and you've done a lot of work on trauma-based mind control, and I want to get into it a little bit. There's a lot to it. One of the things that I've noticed as I've gotten older, I think if I wound back the clock, say a decade or 15 years, I might have said, oh yeah, the CIA is running MK Ultra. Okay, I've done some rabbit holes there. I see that there's these techniques for controlling, say, certain operatives for black ops and false flags, whatever. Like I can see the logic and all that. What I didn't see at the time was the impact on myself in participating in a culture and a narrative landscape that was bombarding me with violence and deception and lies and completely lying to me about damn near everything. And so I'm an unwitting I don't want to say victim, but that I don't think 10, 15 years ago, I was aware of the impact that it had on my own spiritual psyche and my soul. And now that I'm becoming more aware of child sex trafficking, ritual sacrifice, all these
things they've been going for millennia.
But so what is, I guess I wanted to ask you, like, what's the impact on the populace? Like, there's a lot of people that are like, no, I'm not really exposed to much trauma.
Oh boy.
And you know what I mean? Like,
it's total denial.
Hold on. Yeah, it is. But so my question to you is, like, what is it doing to us as a collective, I guess?
It's dumbing us down.
Yeah.
Completely dumbing us down and getting most people to be willfully ignorant of the fact that they are divine spiritual beings having a human experience. And when our attention can be so easily hijacked by this, that, and the other thing, and we have no idea that we are actually, each one of us is here to create formless into form, into our own individualized, unique, possible way. Okay? We're in trouble. We are in deep doo-doo, which is why I have to say, I can only be responsible for me and how I conduct myself and how I wield my own reality, which is why I don't participate. I don't participate in television. I don't even participate in the news. Okay. I touch on it a little bit, and it's like I come to the same conclusion. Nothing new here.
Yep.
Nothing new here. I don't get caught up in mass media. I utilize the energy and the momentum of these systems, such as Facebook, such as YouTube, such as podcasting, to help me spread the good word about what it is that I'm up to. That is it. I will not get involved in any kind of divide and conquer stuff, even with the rumors of new lockdowns or whatever the fuck. I'm not participating. I'm not going to debate it. What the fuck for? We know what this is all going to do. Do what you want. Your body, your choice. Do whatever the fuck you want. Just get the fuck out of my face.
Well, that's
people have to live.
Yeah, that's funny that you said that, because I was pointing that out last time. I'm like, where are all the my body, my choice people when it comes to this mask and this vaccine? They're all in lockstep. Like, you were my body, my choice. I backed you up on that. Now, I'm saying it on this, and everybody's like, no, you got to go along with everything that we're doing. I'm like, wait a minute.
No, back off, way the hell off. And each one of these choices have consequences, and you have to face these consequences.
Yeah. Well,
that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't understand these people, these vaxxers who want to get in my face because I'm not towing that line. It's like, what are you fucking afraid of?
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have confidence in your fucking choice.
Yeah.
You're gonna make me destroy my own ass, because it's like, back off me.
Yeah, I get you. I saw that you wrote, I love this. You said, quote, most people are pussies when it comes to having tricky conversations.
Yeah, they are.
About triggering issues, unquote. And, to be honest with you, you and I both got banned off different channels. I think you and I trigger people. I know I do, because I'm trying to wake people up. And in the process of sharing the truth and what's going on, people get massively triggered. Even the fact that I was going against COVID was super triggering, so much so that they had to say, take him out of here. This is too much to handle. I wasn't even name calling, man. I was just saying, hey, wait, can we slow down? Can we be given a choice? And that was not okay with big media. And so good on you. You trigger people. I trigger people. So who gives a fuck? Like I've been triggering people my whole life. I'm a fast talker. I'm a little loud.
Yeah, me too.
I try to get right to it. You and I are a little bit like we're not even yin and yang. I think we just come at it with a similar kind of thing. But I wanted to ask you, I love the way, by the way, that you write about masculine and feminine energies. I fucking love that, because, you know, we're in the middle of this, like, well, you've already touched on it, that the globalists or the Marxists, the divide and conquer attitude is like, there's no such thing as gender anymore. That like, can't we all agree? I'm just like, you got to be kidding me. Like, I am not, as a man, like, I'm a masculine human. Like, it's pretty obvious when you meet me or you talk to me. Like, I'm not walking around with my tail between my leg. Because,
thank God.
Yeah, because I'm a man. I'm a white man. I'm straight. Like, God, I am a triggering I'm a walking trigger for the social justice warriors. They're like, why do you
war against white men? I see this.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've been called a brown-skinned female patriarchy apologist. It's like, okay, whatever, whatever. But it's a crazy thing, and me being banned by Toronto, right? I was barred from speaking because I wouldn't sign off on the legislation that had just been passed by Canada regarding the 92 plus fucking pronouns. It's like, I'm sorry, I'm not signing this.
Yep.
I'm getting ready to speak in a few minutes, and you're gonna pop this on me, and I'm not gonna be coerced. And so it just didn't happen. But this is the thing, is that I'm sorry, I go back to the Hermeticum. I go back to natural law. There are two genders, people. That is it. You can make up all kinds of fucking words, but it doesn't change facts.
Yep.
Okay? And then when we look at the sort of in utero development of boys and girls, and when the hormones start getting blasted in boy fetuses, boy babies in utero. I mean, it's like, wow, okay. And that's the whole thing with a lot of the wokeism, is that it is so atavistically triggered. That is all the psychic DNA from all past traumas and atrocities by humans upon humans, by the elites upon their slaves. All of that is being triggered, but unfortunately, it is not specific. So all these people who have not done the deep shadow work, they're all mentally ill as far as I'm fucking concerned. And that's what we got going on here. The whole wokeism tribe, they're all mentally ill. They need to go back to the basics, and they need to get in front of all of their own trauma-based mind control that is based on the infusion of what was going on with their mamas when they were in utero. These are all family of origin traumas, and it also addresses all of the atavistic, that is the psychic DNA, that is being carried over millennia after millennia after millennia after millennia, and goes into our prehistory. And we need to start there. Because I assure you, the war of the sexes was already happening. And the feminine, we women, we have a lot to fucking answer for. And I don't get a lot of nods on that. I have a lot of women coming after me, whether you're a feminist or you're one of the new age sex kitsune goddess entrepreneurs of the new cage movement. I mean, they're all wanting to come after me because I am pointing to something that is very, very, very deep. And it is within our occulted history. And we need to look at that shit. You know, and it's a whole other topic and a whole other conversation in of itself. But these are the places where I go. So I see what's going on in this modern age with our modern technology and all of the, you know, techno sorcery, priest class manipulations. But I also go back to the very, very, very beginning.
You know, I think
conception of the masculine and feminine.
I like that you brought up the Hermetic. Like we could probably do an episode on that. Would be pretty cool. But
okay, that'd be fun.
Yeah, but I wanted to ask you specifically. Like, I heard what you said earlier, where you're like, hey, I'm not really looking a whole lot at what's going on with the news. I'm probably guilty of watching maneuvers. I'm very curious about how things are shaking out. And how do you balance out, you know, I think there's a lot of people that want to do almost a spiritual bypass of how we've been enslaved. In other words, they don't want to, there's nobody trying to do anything to humanity over there for these people. I know I have friends and former friends that think this way. They're like, there's nobody that doesn't like humans. There's nothing being, and you can send them, you know, obvious things like, look at what they're doing. Is that not ringing an alarm bell? And they're just like, no, that's you're seeing it. You know, I think
they're part of the fucking problem of humanity's enslavement. I know people like that, and I assure you, there are thousands of things in my life where I have been at the sites of the aftermaths of human ritual sacrifice. I can't unsee that stuff.
I know.
And so I know for me, and this is one of my triggers that I have to absolutely be on fucking top of. Otherwise, I will go unconscious, just like any other zombie stuck in the Matrix. Is when I hear people whitewash the atrocities that happen to children, the denials and all that kind of stuff, I want to beat the shit out of people. Yep. I really do. And I apologize for saying that, but I mean, that is as real as I get. It's like I have to count. I've got to count large quantities of numbers sometimes to calm myself down and reset my template so that I am in charge. And this trigger happy atavism that gets triggered within me of the injustices and the atrocities of humans on humans, and the willful indifference and ignorance of human suffering. Oh boy.
Well, and some of it, to be fair, Marja, some of it I don't know if they are human. I don't know if the rituals come from a pro-humanity. If they're ETs, they're not the ET factions that like humans. So I think some of that is not human on human. Some of that,
absolutely. These are run by lower astral plane entities. You know, I mean, some people want to call them from outer space, whatever.
Archons, ETs,
doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. But the agenda is about harvesting human creative energy. That's what it's about.
But the question I was trying to get you to address was that how do you how do you do the dance of, like, I still feel called to point to what the globalists, what we've been talking about. I feel still compelled to point out the dynamics of the slavery, the dynamics of how we're being held, the dynamics, all that, but also I'm really at my best and happiest when I am transcending that and I recognize, look, there's really just one there. There's nobody over there. There's just all this shadow material and stuff. And I feel like that's where I can kind of have the most freedom. I go in back and forth. I recognize the unity consciousness, and that's a really great place to be. But then there's a part of me that's like, I want to step down into it again to help whoever's stuck in the dichotomy. And so that's how I've kind of justified it. But I wanted to ask you, like, because I like what you said. You're like, well, I don't really get into all the news. I feel like I need to be a little bit more tuned in so I can address things like they're bringing back the pandemic, they're bringing out masks, and so I'm like pointing it out, like don't fall for it again, you guys. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I've just been around longer, so thank God is all that is for people like you who are willing to dip down in there. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I'm hand holding. I have a private practice still. I'm hand holding people. I listen to their stuff. If I listen to any more, I'm done.
Yeah.
I have a life. I have family. I have friends. I have creative things that I want to do and pursue. And I have devoted my entire life to the outing of Gooberman, the outing of all this stuff. And I have paid for it. I've paid for it very, very dearly, and I've had my shit wrecked. So for me, what I have to do is I have to, and I'm very good at it now. And, once you get deplatformed and you lose a lot of your livelihood, I mean, I was rocking it for 9 years on the YouTube and on my membership website. And then all of a sudden it's gone. Why? Because I pushed it. I pushed it and I got into the crosshairs of some very, very bad people. And one of the things that we have to learn how to do, those of us spiritual warriors, you have to learn how to wield reality, and you have to learn how to waltz in and out of that fucking matrix undetected. And that is my main focus these days, these years, the last 5 years, because of what's happened to me. Because you have to figure it out. You can't be in an all-out war. And the only way you win the war for their war for your consciousness is to be in charge of your attention. And what are you giving your attention to? And are you losing power? And I see too many of the spiritual warriors who are ill. They're out of shape. They're overweight. I'm a mean, lean machine at 64, almost 64. I'm very, very healthy. I'm not on any pharmaceuticals. I don't do that shit. I'm not in the medical system. I've taken responsibility for my health and my well-being. On my own. I finance all that myself. And here's the irony of it, is that in the 80s, I used to sell insurance. So I know the fucking scam that it is. And that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's fear-mongering. It's not creating your own reality. It is kowtowing to the actuarial, that is the applied mathematicians who suss out all this shit for premium dollar, premium dinero, whatever you want to call it, euros, shekels.
Well, Marja, you're definitely leading by example. I love how you go about it. I love that you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna be out and just like speaking the truth. I think it's a big attractor. Where can people find you and your work? Where can they get a copy of your excellent book, Effed Wide Open or Fucked Wide Open? I love this. And what else do you got going on? Like, you have a program right now that you want to tell the listeners about? Like, where can they find you? Where can they find the book? And what else?
Well, the best way to find me, and I think really learn about my work, is pretty much my YouTube channel. So my YouTube channel is what you see here, Love, Truth, and Beauty. That is my handle. And also my website, LoveTruth&Beauty.com. And you can check out my work there. I know a lot of people don't want to get on YouTube, but if you go to my Instagram account at dakini.kiss, you can hit all of my previous IGTVs. I have not been posting on Instagram the last 2 years because they just refused to verify me. They wouldn't verify me. And I was getting all these cloned accounts, people acting like they were me, creating websites where they had copied and pasted all my content. I swear to God. Just ridiculous, stupid shit like that. But that's the best thing. You can find me on Facebook. as far as my programs, I'm taking a break from that kind of stuff. I do have programs where I am training one-on-one. Okay. My trauma deactivation, de-armoring practitioner training. And you have to come to me. We do it privately at my home. And that is how I'm doing it. I'm no longer doing these group programs because it's too dangerous. The work is just so powerful and compelling. And after I've had my organization gutted, you realize that there are plenty of people out there who are willing to steal, plagiarize, etc. So, I'm holding a very, very, very tight rein. But I do have over 500 practitioners worldwide. And so you can have access to those if you want, or you can work with me. But that's pretty much it. And as far as the books go, I know a lot of people don't like to support Amazon. Both editions, the first edition and the second edition of my book, Effed Wide Open, The Rude Awakening of the Heart-Based New Humanity, are available on Amazon. However, if you do not want to support Amazon, you can email me at dakinikiss@gmail.com, and I will send you can purchase the PDF version of my second edition, and I will email that to you.
Beautiful. Well, Marja, thank you so much for coming on Basecamp for Men, sharing your insights.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're just a fireball. I just love it. I think I've already earmarked some other topics for us on another occasion. So I really look forward to chatting with you again. You were really awesome. I just think you're leading by example, and I just really appreciate all you're doing for humanity.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your great work, Tony.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as I enjoyed being in it. Marja is a true spiritual warrior, and she wears it all on her sleeve. I love it. I get to be a guest on her show, Conversations with Men, coming up in the next few weeks. I'll share the details with you here, or maybe even shape it into something for Basecamp. Thank you so much, Basecampers, and we'll see you around the fire next week. If you find value in our show and wish to show us some love, we are now making that very easy to do. You simply go to www.basecampformen.com and click on Donate Support Basecamp. You'll find an easy way to make either monthly donations for as little as $5 a month, or you can donate just once. We love the monthly donation and hope to build this up over the coming months, but any show of support is greatly appreciated, honestly. Thank you for your support and for helping to keep Basecamp as a resource on your hero's journey. That's our show for today. Thank you for listening. Again, good luck in all your endeavors and good luck on your hero's journey. This is Tony Rezac, and you're listening to Basecamp for Men.